Healing takes time. You are not behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, even if it's messy. Oh, hello there. You've never met this character before. Say hi. I had a baby. This is the baby. On January 9th, 2026, and I have been really just soaking in all the baby time, healing, okay? Healing postpartum, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, I'm still bleeding, girl. I'm still bleeding mentally. I'm still bleeding emotionally. I am still very much putting the pieces of myself back together. Like, this was a canon event in my life, okay? And it is reminding me weirdly of my large breakup of 2021, okay? I went through a big ass breakup in 2021, like around the new year. It was a situationship that I'd been in for a hot minute, like a lot of years. Who I became after that was a completely different version of Sarah. I had never been her before that, and I needed to go through that breakup to become her. Healing through something difficult, whether that's loss of a loved one, loss of a friendship, moving, postpartum, breakup, like the end of something, beginning of another, something that really affects you, that you have to go through a period of healing and grief and, all the elements of that. It really feels like sort of like picking the pieces of a puzzle back together. You're not broken necessarily, but you're putting the pieces of a puzzle together of a version that once existed of you and a version that will exist. And it's not real obvious who that's going to be. You don't really know. You don't really know what the end puzzle is going to look like. You are just trying to find your edge pieces and move forward. That is where I'm at. And there are so many times in life that we go through that vibe. What I've been finding with myself lately is I've just been so frustrated with the length of time that it has been taking me to heal. I am ready to stop bleeding, girl. I'm ready. I'm ready to feel confident in my skin again. I'm ready to go out. I'm ready to not be breastfeeding every 2 hours. I'm ready to sleep more than 2 hours consecutively. Like, I'm so ready to be healed, and I want to rush the process, and I want to rush all of this. And then I look at him and I see how much he's changed just in 1 month that it's been since I had him, and I'm like, no, I can't rush this. Like, I just have to soak it in.
I will say this very much ebbs and flows depending on the day. Like, I woke up this morning filled with rage and sadness and just a morning of having a life that isn't breastfeeding, burping a baby, and trying to find time to shower. It's hard. And some days it's so easy for me to see the light and be like, this will end. This is a short period of time. I have to soak it in. And then other days I hate my life. And I'm like, what? Like, when is this going to end? I can't do this. So just want to be real about that. It's a very much ebb and a flow.
Really, healing isn't something you can rush. It's not something you can rush, but it's something that we always try to rush because it's uncomfortable and because we would rather feel perfect and together than really recognize and hold space for feeling imperfect. We, as a society, as a culture, really don't make time or make space for not being our best versions of ourselves. It's always like okay, we were this and now we're that. We're glowing up. We're doing this. We're becoming this before and after. It's very much like hustle culture, become the best version of yourself culture, go, 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 get it, make that money, like be hot. Even just the whole bounce back after you have a baby thing, or like the glow up and be the hottest version of yourself after you go through a breakup thing. There is so much pressure to get to the next level after you go through something difficult or after you need to heal through something. And there's very little allowance of ourselves to be in this in-between phase, in the healing phase, in the phase that's messy and chaotic and confusing and painful and sad. And that space that we all have to live in sometimes is the space where the magic happens, because that's the space where you bloom. That's the space where you evolve, where you transcend, where you become. One of my favorite metaphors ever, that's been one of my favorite metaphors since I went through the great breakup of, no, actually, it was before that. It was when I found out he cheated on me. It was, 2019, the cheating episode, okay? I went to a therapist and she was like, listen, girl, you're in a butterfly stage, okay? You will be a beautiful butterfly. Right now, you're no longer that caterpillar that you once were. You're somewhere in the middle. You're goop. You're goop. You've fallen apart. You're goopy. You're not this, but you're not that. You're in the in-between. And the in-between space is so particularly vulnerable because you see that you've died a little. You know, you see that a part of you died, and you can kind of get glimpses of who you're going to become, but you also don't really know or trust or believe that you'll get there. And so there's just a lot of self-doubt and a lot of like, ugh, why am I here? You know? And postpartum, I've definitely found myself feeling ugh. Like 90% of the time. I feel like my fuse is short. I don't feel like myself. I don't have necessarily the energy to do the things that I love. I question myself all the time. And all of this is such a normal part of the healing process. But like I said, this healing process is where all the magic happens. You have to exist in this liminal space, this space in between the two versions of yourself in order to blossom, to bloom, to come up like the phoenix, okay? You may have burned in the ashes. You're not just going to become a big, powerful, beautiful phoenix in 2 seconds. Like, she's got to grow and she's got to become one, and that takes time. The reason healing takes time, the reason that that space exists, the reason that there is even space and time and a moment of pause and surrender in healing is because healing is not like, okay, I fixed myself. I'm healed now. I am now this new version of myself and the old version died. Healing is figuring out the parts of yourself that you don't necessarily love, seeing those parts, accepting them and loving them enough to be able to like move with them. When I went through my breakup, one of the things that I had to really come to terms with was that I was deserving of love that was genuine and healthy and non-selfish and a kind of love that I had never even seen before. I had to really find that I was deserving in that and give it to myself and believe that and show myself that kind of love before I could ever attract it from a partner. Spoiler alert, I did end up attracting it from a wonderful partner that I now have a child with, but it took a lot of time for me to even know that I deserved that, let alone be able to give it to myself, let alone be able to then find it in another person. And so here in postpartum, what I'm knowing, like intuitively, is that I am having to sit with the parts of myself that I don't like. I don't like how impatient I am, childish and young and like flighty I can be, how chaotic I can be, how inconsistent I can be, you know, like my body, for example. When you're in postpartum, your body is it's a transitional body. It's not what my body will look like in months. It's not what my body looked like before I was pregnant. It's not what my body looked like while I was pregnant. I have a wound that I'm healing, and I also have a body that I'm growing into that I don't necessarily feel comfortable in. Like, I don't feel comfortable in my skin. And the goal, I think, in the healing space is to be able to look in the mirror and be like, yeah, this isn't my end body. This isn't my beginning body. This is somewhere in the middle. And this is a result of bringing a human into the world, of creating a human in my body and then birthing it out. This is the result of something, the most incredible and insane thing that I have physically done ever. This came from that, and it will change. And I can love it at each of its steps. It won't be here forever. It's just going to be here for a minute, and it might look a little different, and it might not be exactly what I think it should or want it to be, but that doesn't make it bad. And so that's really what it is. As a healing perfectionist, this is hard to be able to see yourself, especially as imperfect, and still love that part of you. That's hard, right? It's so hard to not just want to fix and improve and make better and skip over the ugly parts, the messy parts. But the messy parts and the ugly parts, you have to show those parts of you love and really hold those parts of you and be able to be like, yeah, I feel like this, I am like this, and still find love for those parts. And that is how you then transcend. You don't grow, you don't evolve from hating yourself, from hating your life, from bitterness. Hate, bitterness, disgust, all those things do is isolate you. They isolate you, they isolate that part of you. And what brings you together, what helps you to grow, what brings you closer to others, to yourself, is love. It's loving yourself at all of your moments, even the ones that you don't feel your best in. It's loving your difficulties, your struggles. It's loving your journey. It's recognizing that your journey is teaching you something, even though it's imperfect, even though it's not very, Instagram worthy. It's teaching you exactly what you need to learn. The point of it all is, whatever you are sitting in, whatever pain, whatever darkness, whatever you're healing in, don't hate it. Don't push it away. Don't try to get it out of your life. Let it in. See what it's teaching you. See who it's trying to make you. And say it out loud. Say the things that you don't like about yourself or your life, say them out loud and say it with love. Instead of, I hate that I don't have the job that I want to have right now, the business that I want to have. I don't have the business that I want to have right now, and I still love my life. My life is still beautiful. Hold space for the version of yourself that you're becoming by allowing yourself to be the version you are right now. You got to allow yourself to be the in-between. Let yourself unravel. Let it fall apart. Whatever leaves you in life, whatever parts of you get left behind, let it. Let it unravel, let it fall apart, because what comes after the unraveling, what comes after the falling apart is a rebuilding. And this space where you're rebuilding, it's vulnerable, it's messy, it's chaotic, it's scary, it's confusing, it can feel lonely. That is the space where the magic happens. That is the space where you become the best version of you that you've ever become. And you're going to continue to do this your whole life. You're going to build yourself up, get knocked down, build yourself up, get knocked down, build yourself up, get knocked down. But that's the point. We're supposed to be here learning lessons, learning how to love ourselves and each other better. And we only do that through happiness and pain and loss and gain. That is just life. That is the ebb and the flow. Healing takes time. You are not behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, even if it's messy. One of the most motivating things that helps me whenever I'm going through another period of healing is just thinking back to a time where I've healed through. Whatever you're going through, you've probably went through something similar before. Or you can see it on TV, or you can listen to this podcast episode, because that's the whole reason I yap about the things I yap about. You're never alone. You're always going through something that someone else has felt before. And we can find the love for ourselves and for each other through understanding that we're not alone and we're meant to do it and walk with each other on our journeys. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Welcome to Mirrors, the podcast where we learn about ourselves, learn to love ourselves, and learn to create a life we love to live. I'm so back, baby. I don't know how back I actually am, but I'm back right now. And I've loved being here. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye.